Hello friends, you are welcome once again to today's sharing. This is Let's Talk with Esther Agbi, and this is Esther Agbi. I hope you are doing very well. Okay, so the title of today's sharing is Spiritual Currency. How much do you have? Spiritual currency. How much do you have? We know that the physical wealth is measured by, well, we just refer to people as millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires. I don't know if anybody is a trillionaire, but that is how we refer to people with physical wealth. And some people could refer to their wealth in terms of real estate. Some people have houses, properties, and that is how they measure their wealth. And others have merchandise or what have you. But with spiritual wealth, how do we measure spiritual wealth? That is why the title is Spiritual Currency. How much of it do you have? Jesus is full of virtue. That's what the scripture tells us. Jesus is full of virtue. What does it mean? You know, the scripture also talks about Jesus going about doing good because he's full of virtue. And when we look at the story that was relayed in Luke chapter 5, verse 46, talking about the woman with the issue of blood, and there was this huge crowd pressing on Jesus Christ, and the people wanted to get so close to him. But this woman determined in her heart that she would just touch the hem of the garment. If only she could touch the hem of the garment, and she would be made whole. And somehow she got so close to Jesus and she touched the hem of her garment. And Jesus knew something left him. He said, virtue has left. Virtue left. So virtue can be equated to something good. So virtue is valued as good. Examples of virtues could be honesty, being respectful, courageous, forgiving, kind, patience, integrity, truthfulness. Remember, the virtuous woman. You can say, oh, that man is very kind, or that woman is very respectful. Those are examples of virtues, you know. Virtues, I don't know if we're born with virtues, but I believe that it has to be cultivated. You have to acquire it. You have to develop virtue. The human being consists of three components. We have the body, the physical body. As you can see me, you see my shirt, my body, my skin. That's the physical. It relates with the five senses, the environment. And we also have the soul and then the spirit. Those are spirit beings. We cannot actually see them physically, but they are there. So the spirit, the whole essence of man is that the spirit should dominate the soul and then the body. But we notice that some people, their body is more developed, you know, their physical body has reached maturity, because for your body to grow, you have to eat. You have to eat physical food. Like from a baby, you take milk, you go to solid food, and then you develop to an adult or a younger child that can chew and eat all kinds of things. Rice, beans. Someone told me that I love beans. Rice, beans, noodles, pizza, pasta, what have you. You eat those physical food to be able to develop your physical body to maturity. We can all relate with that. But how do we develop our soul? The soul could be developed. The soul is the intellect of man. It can be trained. It can be developed by training. Going to school, you start from kindergarten, you go to elementary, higher school, diploma, and university. That is how you train, you develop your soul. But what about the spirit? What kind of training, what kind of food do you need to take in to be able to develop your spirit man? Because we are supposed to live from inside out, not from outside in. So when the more mature a spirit man is, the spirit man will be able to take control of the soul and of the body. But if the spirit man is dwarf, kind of smallish, and then the physical man, the physical body is big, grown to maturity, then you find out that the physical body is dominating the spirit, which is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way around. So we know how we develop and grow our physical body. And we also know how we develop and grow our soul. But how do you develop and grow your spirit man so that your spirit man will be able to take control of the totality of your being? Well, some of us, we can develop our spirit man by, well, we can pray. Prayer is communication with your God. You can worship, you can study the word, you can give thanks, you can fast, you can do any of those spiritual things. So you see that anything you want to do to develop your spirit man, it's going back to the source of life. God is the giver of life. He is the source of life. So in order for us to be able to develop our spirit man, we have to go back to the source. And when we talk about virtues, Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, he talked about virtues. He gave 12 virtues or more. He says one of his virtues is courage, that's bravery, temperance, that's moderation, liberality, that is spending, magnificence, charisma, style, magnanimity, that's generosity, ambition, that's pride, patience, temper, calm, friendliness, and that's social IQ. I don't want to go into each one of them, but we can find out that all these virtues of his that Aristotle enumerated there, they are also in Christianity or any religion that you belong to. Because in Christianity, the virtues could be summarized in the fruit of the Spirit. And I will read from Galatians 5:22 to 23, which says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law." Can you imagine someone just exhibiting all these fruits? It's one fruit, but just in one spirit, but different aspects of the fruit. Exhibiting love, exhibiting joy, exhibiting peace, long-suffering or patience, gentleness, goodness, faith, temperance, meekness. There will be no need to have any laws of the land, because it's already disciplined. That is what it's supposed to be. If we are walking in the Spirit, we are exhibiting the fruit of the Spirit. Your spirit man will be able to take control of your soul and of your body. So I skip to verse 25. It says, "If we live in the Spirit, let us walk in the Spirit." We cannot say we are spirit being and then we are walking in the flesh. We are spirit being having a body, not just a body, having a spirit. So the spirit is supposed to be more dominant in the human being. So to develop the spirit man, you have to go back to the source, as I said before, and the giver of life. And God is the source and giver of life. In John 15:5, it says, "I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing." So if you want to develop your spirit man, you have to go back to the source. Jesus is the vine and we are the branches. So as the branch receives fruit, receives nourishment from the vine, so we can do nothing except we go back to the source. We have to go back to God. We have to go back to Jesus so that we can receive nourishment. And the scripture says Jesus was full of virtue. It's like the vine having a lot of sap. So we can only get this nourishment if the branch is attached even to the vine. So that is how we can cultivate and develop and grow our virtue. So once we have that virtue, our spirit man is nourished and our spirit man begins to have control, discipline over the soul and the body. So my question comes back again. How much spiritual currency do you have? The more time you spend with your Creator, the more His beauty and glory will be mirrored through you. Can I say that you are a spiritual millionaire? Can I say that you are a spiritual billionaire? Can I say you are a spiritual trillionaire? Or what do you have? Or are you spiritually bankrupt? Am I spiritually bankrupt? We have to reflect, we have to meditate, we have to think. Take time out, reflect on yourself. What do people say about you? Do they see these virtues of love, of joy, of kindness, of patience, of long suffering? These are virtues. And we can only have these things when we come to Christ and we spend time in His presence. May the Lord continue to teach us more and more, that we may be able to reflect His beauty and His glory at all times. God bless you. Shalom. Bye.